Okay, hello everyone, it's me, Profesor here, and as you can clearly see, I'm not recording this video outside. As I've mentioned in the announcements the last couple of days, it's been over 100-degree weather for the past few days, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. If anything, the humidity from that hurricane down by Cabo San Lucas is coming this way, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a repeat of some of the freak thunderstorms that came over here last month. So it's been a crazy summer out here in this part of the Inland Empire, but Septembers are usually crazy, wacky weather periods, and it looks like right now this summer is clearly no exception. All right, well listen, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about the Daughter of Fortune stuff. And this is actually my second attempt at recording this. I was actually recording this yesterday over the YouTube video capture, but for some reason the connection wasn't working properly. I don't know if it was a problem with my computer or with Time Warner or with YouTube or a combination of all three. But the point of it was the video came to about 20 minutes, but when I checked on YouTube, it only 2 seconds came out. So naturally, I wasn't a very happy camper after I saw it. But you know, these types of things happen. So just have to pick up the pieces and then just gather up the forces and try again. So hopefully this time I'm recording on the iPad. So right now we're barring any attempts in which there's trouble with Time Warner, with YouTube, or with my old iMac. All right, well let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the book. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and give you a quick overview in terms of what you're going to be doing for the overall scope of the assignment. And remember, your assignment actually has two parts to it. There's going to be a series of discussion forums, discussion questions, in which you go along with the readings. The readings won't kick in until about the second week of October. So October 6th through the 10th, that's when the first 3 chapters of the book start. And we're going to be working on the book for the next for 6 weeks during that time. And then it's in November, right before Thanksgiving, on November 21st, in which you work on part 2 of the assignment. That is, you submit the video portion of it. So in other words, the totality of your grade on Daughter Fortune consists of 2 things: how you do on the discussion forums, and also and how you do with respect to presenting your video. And this is going to be the first of several videos about Daughter Fortune. I'm going to have videos in which I talk about the readings for that week. So during the 6 weeks that we get the readings, I'll give you one video in which I recap some of the main points for those 3-4 chapters that you have to work on, mention some of the key characters. I'll also make comparisons with respect to what's happening in the United States. So I'm going to try my best to connect U.S. topics with what's happening in the storyline. So there will be a little bit of a point in early on in which there's not much congruence or continuity between U.S. history and what's happening in Chile and in the Pacific. That is, with respect to the storyline in the 1850s. But as we get more and more into about the 3rd and 4th weeks of the readings of Daughter Fortune, then there'll be a lot more continuity between what's happening in the U.S. Time-wise with respect to the story itself. But again, when I get to those videos, I'll definitely go through all of those key points. And I will, of course, have a video which will show you how to actually create a video. That is, what I want everybody to start thinking about is, if you have a Google account, then you've got a YouTube account. So make use of your Google YouTube account, in which you're going to post your videos, your videos on YouTube, and then through Blackboard, there'll be a way in which you can link directly from YouTube to Blackboard. And in fact, on Blackboard itself, in the discussion forum section, there's an area in which you can actually record your videos while you've got Blackboard going on. But don't worry about all of that. Probably about the middle part of October, the second week of October, I think right about the time in which we get going with the second readings, chapters 4 through 7, I'll of course have another how-to video about how to make your videos and how to record them, what I'm looking out for, what I want everybody to start thinking about, blah blah blah, that type of thing. So let's get going with about 2 weeks of readings of Daughter Fortune first, and then I'll talk more about what what the video portion is all about. But let me go ahead and spend the rest of this video talking more about the discussion topics, and also to the overall scope, the objective, that is why we're doing this, why we're engaged in this ambitious exercise. Well, first off, let me go talk about the second part first, in terms of why we're doing this, or actually why I'm doing this, and what the objective is. Once all is said and done, and we're done with the Daughter Fortune stuff by the end of November, right before Thanksgiving, what I'm going to be doing, and I'd actually touched upon this in one of the earlier introduction videos, is that this video, or this project, this entirety of what we're doing with the book, and again, here's a copy of it. This is what you can get the books there. So if you don't have a copy now, no problem. We're not going to get going on this for another 2 or 3 weeks, but definitely by the end of September, make sure you get your copy of it. And then starting the week of October 6th, that's what we'll start with. With the readings from the book. Coming up in January, me and my colleague Dr. Contreras, we've been involved in this project by way of the American Historical Association and the National Endowment for the Humanities, something called Bridging Cultures, Atlantic and Pacific. What we've done over the past 2 years is we've been to conferences and listened to presentations, read some books and articles about new ways of how to look at both the Atlantic and the Pacific with respect to teaching United States history. Now, Dr. Cortez and I, we were at the Huntington Library in San Marino near Pasadena. We were there in January of last year, so that was the Pacific portion. We met professors from USC, UC Irvine, schools from the East Coast, the Johns Hopkins, those places, and they gave their perspective in terms of how to link the Pacific with the United States history. So instead of looking at the United States in I guess you might say a tiny sliver in terms of, well, it was California, there was Manifest Destiny, the Americans wanted to go to Hawaii, missionaries, blah blah blah, that type of thing. Instead of looking at U.S. history through that narrow focus, what these scholars were demonstrating is that you can look at U.S. history by what's happening in the entirety of the Pacific. So what that means is that, what are the Russians doing? What are the English doing? What are the Asians doing? That's what's happening in China, what's happening in Japan, in Hawaii, Polynesia, and also too, how does Chile, how does Mexico fit in? Because of course Mexico and Chile definitely share the Pacific with the United States. So one of the things that really intrigued me, and this is something that I've been interested in for quite a while, was of course the impact of Chile. I did a lot of coverage of Chile with my graduate school classes in San Diego State back in the 1990s. So when I heard a couple of the professors, in fact one particular was David Igler, Dr. David Igler from UC Irvine. He talked at length about Chile and about this whole idea of connecting Chile with the United States, especially during the Gold Rush era. So it was that perspective that really got me interested, and got me thinking about maybe doing this as a project in the future. Now, back in January of this year, Dr. Cortez and I went to Washington, D.C. to the Library of Congress for the Atlantic portion, and there we looked at, you might say, the usual suspects in terms of what's happening with Europe, England, Spain, the Netherlands, France, and also can't forget about the impact with the African component, that is slavery, and also. And not just slavery, but transatlantic trade. What's happening between, what's happening between, say, Boston and Southampton, the ports in England, between Portugal and Brazil, linking Brazil with the Caribbean, linking the Caribbean, Cuba, Puerto Rico with the Eastern Seaboard, that type of thing. So those were the things that Dr. Cortez and I and several of our colleagues from around the country picked up in the second part. But to get back to things here, and then I'll go and say a few things about the readings and the discussion portion, is that to wrap up our Bridging Cultures presentation, our project, those of us who participated, we have to present our findings, what we learned, how is this going to change or shape our methodology for the future, for going forward. So what's going to happen is in New York, right after New Year's Day, right after the big ball or apple, whatever that thing is, water or coconut, I think it keeps changing over the years. But I think it's a crystal ball right now. I definitely know that. Right after New Year's, there's a big conference happening in New York. That's the annual AHA convention. So myself and four other colleagues, a couple of people from Santa Monica College, one from Irvine Valley, and we have a professor from suburban Chicago and a gentleman from Long Island. We're going to be part of a panel in which we're going to talk about how we use these programs in how we use bridging cultures in our classes. And so what I'm doing with you guys right here, that in essence is my perspective. That this is how I'm going to incorporate the Bridging Cultures program to this. So we're going to do things a little bit differently compared to, I would say, to what my other colleagues are doing. And we're going to, you might say, place ourselves into the center of the story of Daughter of Fortune. So what I'm asking is that I'm going to present some of your videos. That is what you present to the class. So for those of you who might be a little bit more inclined to be very dramatic, that is, maybe you might be in theater, in drama, in the theater arts, and you have and you'd like to, you might say, really put yourself into the character, into the mood of the 1850s in Chile, San Francisco, too, those places. Then think about it. Let me know, and I'll definitely be willing to give you a hand in terms of what things you should be looking out for, things that you should be discussing when you make your presentation, when you make a video presentation. But again, I'll give you all the details about the video portion coming up next month. So right about mid-October, so roughly about the time when we start with the second installment of Daughter Fortune. So roughly about the week of the 13th and 17th, that's when I'll have more information about what to do about video. But for the meantime, for the next few minutes, as I go ahead and start wrapping this video up, let me tell you a little bit more about how we're going to do the discussion portion. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to split up the book into 6 weeks. So every week we're going to look at about 3 to 4 chapters from the story, starting the week of October 6th to the 10th with chapters 1 through 3. And what's going to happen is we're going to use the discussion board. We haven't touched the discussion board since about the first 2 weeks when you guys put in your introductions, and maybe some of you might have posted some concerns or questions in the general forum. But we're going to make heavy use of that in October, in through about the halfway part of November. And I'm going to split the class up into 3 groups, and I haven't quite decided in terms of how I'm going to do that. If I'm going to do it alphabetically or just have like a bowl or a hat in which all your names are in there, and like with a lottery, like with bingo or whatever, and then whoever names I draw, you'll be in that group. You'll be in group 1. Then I'll announce group 2, and then whoever's left over will be in group 3. That type of thing. Haven't quite decided yet, but I would imagine in about 2 weeks I'll definitely decide my format in terms of who's going to be in which group. But what I want everybody to do is, once all the groups are in, then you're going to have some series of discussion questions in which you're to discuss amongst each other the study questions, the themes that are covered in each chapter. And basically what I'm going to try to do is recreate something comparable to what you have in an on-campus section. So let's say some of you might have taken classes with, like Dr. Contreras, Dr. Ferris, Mr. Innes, Mr. Bell, anyone else on campus, Professor Ms. Hargrove, and maybe they might have put you in discussion groups so that, let's say Mr. Bell might have said, oh, okay, I want you guys in the corner to talk about the impact here with respect to the connections of slavery, how slavery was seen in the 14th century, 15th century, that type of thing. And then he might say, okay, then you guys over here talk about what's happening in Asia with the various dynasties in China back in this era, blah blah blah. So basically, I'm going to try to recreate that in the discussion board, and I'm going to get some assistance. I'm going to check with my colleagues like Dr. Contreras, Dr. Ferris, Mr. Radzikowski, Professor McMeekin, whoever has done group discussions with the online classes. I'll pick their brains, so to speak, and find out how they do it. So let me talk to them for the next couple of weeks, and then in 2 weeks' time, then I'll go and explain more in terms of the group formation process. But because there are 21 chapters in the book, and there's going to be 3 groups, what's going to happen is each group you will discuss 7 chapters. So for example, group 1, you're going to talk about chapter 1. Group 2, you'll work on chapter 2. Group 3, you'll work on chapter 3, and then coming back to group 1, you'll work on chapter 4 all the way down to get to chapter 21. So because it's an even split of 21 chapters in 3 groups, so hence each group is going to work on 7 chapters. And in terms of due dates for posting your comments, again, I haven't worked out those details yet, but I'm going to get to those very soon. So again, within a couple of weeks, I'll have more details about that coming up toward the end of this month, September. And let me see what else I need to mention here. Let me just double check my notes at this point in time. No, I think that pretty much covers it in terms of how this is going to be structured. But again, I wanted to give you at least a bit of a sense of an overview in terms of what you're to be looking out for, what to expect when we come into October, especially the second week of October, when the Daughter Fortune readings start to kick in, start to get going. But like I said, I will have many more videos about this. I'll have videos which will be more nuts and bolts, so to speak, and I'll have videos in which I talk about what's happening in the batch of readings, and of course, I'm going to make my own video too. So obviously, I mean, I'm not going to leave you guys out to dry in that you have to make your characters. You have to decide, which character or what type of personality do you want to be in the 1850s. Oh, and on that note too, just one final thing about that. I want you to put yourself in the context or time frame of the story, in that you're in the 1850s in Valparaiso, Chile, and you want to go to California, but you have to tell me, well, who are you? What's your character? Why do you want to go to California? Are you seeking asylum from France? Maybe you're escaping political persecution. Yeah, so you're from France and you want to go for political reasons. Maybe you want to go for economic reasons. You're having a tough time. Let's say you're a Highlander from the Andes in Peru or Bolivia. You heard about gold, so you want to go maybe make it rich and maybe support your family, bring your family from the Andes to California. Maybe just a soldier of fortune. Maybe you're escaping a bad marriage, or you've got debts and you're fleeing the debt collector, the sheriff, whatever, or you're a missionary from, say, New England. You want to spread the good word to all the heathens and the miners and the drunken guys in San Francisco. Maybe you're that, or maybe you're a farmer from China. You're escaping social unrest happening in China, much like one of the characters here in the book. So think about what type of character maybe might suit you, and in terms of where you want to come from, I'll leave it up to you. If you want to come from the East Coast of the U.S., if you want to come from the U.S. South, from the Midwest, maybe you're from Mexico, maybe you're a miner from Sonora, and somehow you end up in Chile, but you want to go back north to California, or you might be from Hawaii, from China, from Japan. Maybe you're just some wild and crazy guy from Russia, Hungary. A lot of Eastern Europeans made their way to California during the Gold Rush period too. So be creative, use your imagination, but definitely think about somebody being in the context of the story. And I would say that about the 3rd or 4th week in which we're in the readings, then you can start thinking about what character you want to do. So let's say when we get maybe toward the Halloween time frame, that's about the time frame in which start telling me who your characters are, and then when you're ready to go ahead and start making your videos, then about the first part of this first segment of November, then go ahead and start making your videos. But like I said, I will have a sample video about my character. My character is going to be an executive from a shipping company owned by Paulina Rodriguez de Santa Cruz. She's one of the other main female characters besides Eliza Summers. So I'm going to be a shipping guy, and I'm going to basically say, I'm going to decide, oh, okay, you people, you guys over here, you come to California. You ladies, you come to California. You gentlemen, you come to California. Blah blah blah. So that's basically what's going to be my character, my personality, and then your personality, your characters. You guys tell me. You guys come to me and say, yes, sir, I want to go to California too. I have these skills. I have that. I can do this. I can do that. You get the idea. So start thinking a little bit about that. But again, next month I will have more detailed videos in terms of what it is exactly you have to do for the video portion. And of course, I'll have a video about how to actually create your videos, what features, what buttons to use in Blackboard to record your videos. All right, and with that, that pretty much concludes it. So hopefully with this video, I'm not going to have any issues with respect to this being uploaded to YouTube. Even though the video capture in YouTube is ostensibly supposed to work good, I've had a bit of difficulty with it the last couple times I've used it. So I think for all remaining videos I use for the semester, I'll just go ahead and keep using my trusty little iPad mini for the rest of the term. All right, well, that's it from me. That's it from the old French Valley headquarters. I'm sure once the weather cools off, I can finally go back outside and make some videos out there. But for the time being, it's hotter than you know where, and it's going to be like that for the next couple of days. All right, everyone, that's it from here. You guys take care, and I'll definitely be back again with more Daughter Fortune stuff very soon.